Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is an honor to be in the room with some powerful thought leaders across government and industry. I would be remiss if I did not thank my senior leadership and folks that are in the room today that have been taking the charge to propel the HBCU initiative forward. In the room today, I do want to give a shout out to Ms. Annette Scarborough Owens, who is with NIH, and she has been mentoring me this past year on HBCU. So if she will just stand pretty quickly, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. We must out-innovate and out-educate and out-build the rest of the world. Former President Barack Obama said it best. I interpret this to mean that every single one that is in this room today holds the key to change the narrative. Today's team truly changed the narrative in federal government. Be bold. Be bold. What does that mean for you? We cannot improve and or increase contracting and grants to HBCUs without understanding how we can make our partnership more effective. How can we make our partnership more effective? The government contracting rules, regulations, and procedures dictate how you do business with the federal government. But most important, the FAR dictates what we do. However, there are numerous laws in government contracting that you need to be cognizant of as it relates to HBCUs. So I will forward on to the slides. And the first slide, it actually dictates the executive order that stands at the helm for HBCUs, and that is Executive Order 13779. And working in the OZABU, we have that narrow piece which talks about what are agencies doing to increase the capacity of HBCUs to compete effectively for grants and contracts in federal government. And we also have FAR Regulation Part 26. FAR Regulation Part 26, subpart .3, literally talks a little bit about HBCUs as it relates to the scope and how we can provide capacity to federal procurement. But what do we need? We need help from SBA, we need help from industry to iron out the ambiguity in the FAR so that we can truly set aside requirements for federal government. The next slide talks about capacity and prescriptive capabilities. And this is what I love. What I love about this is a quick snapshot of capabilities across HBCUs. And while it may not be legible to you, there are NAICS codes that they play in, particularly NAICS codes that the GAO has earmarked for all federal agencies as being key issues that we need to bring into corrective measure, and they are IT modernization. And some of the NAICS codes, 541611, program management support, IT, cybersecurity, these are all areas that HBCUs are playing in right now. And they are ready to work with us, and they have capabilities, and this is a snapshot of their capability. So we certainly want to sign up to work with them, particularly if they can make federal government whole again. The next slide, you've heard many times that contracting seems hard, and if you don't follow them, the government is just waiting to take you down. Not at all. We're not waiting to take you down. We just want to learn more because we don't know, and we don't know what we don't know, and if you're not teaching us how to tool up, how can we do better? So whatever information, whatever tools, whatever best case news story that you have in industry that you're willing to share, send those to us. In fact, I'll share my email address right now. My name is Melissa Jenkins. My email address is melissa.jenkins@treasury.gov. Federal government is actively seeking HBCU participation right now. But guess what is happening? You are not, similar to a small business, you're not going to be considered for a grant and/or contractual requirement if you don't respond. If we don't know that you're interested, even if you can't do the whole thing, we don't know how best to serve you. So it takes a partnership of both. And we're here and willing to partner. In fact, last year I attended my first HBCU Industry Day at NIH, and then we subsequently partnered and we did an industry day at the HBCU conference where we invited program managers, contracting officers, corps, et cetera, so that the HBCU community could learn more about doing business with federal government and learn more about how they can shape and mold responses to RFPs, learn more about grant opportunities, because there are several opportunities that are available, and we certainly want you included. The next slide talks a little bit about the areas of capacity that HBCUs are playing in right now. Research and development, not a surprise. Medical services, administrative and management support, education and training. Let's think about that, because if we have folks in the room that are in federal government, exactly what does education and training mean to you? If you are in an emerging leaders program, or you are being developed to be a senior executive, and you're sitting in those courses at your resident agency, and it lends itself to academia, do you think that that may be a procurement opportunity for an HBCU? And what does that look like for the numbers in terms of diversity inclusion? While the federal government does not have corporate social responsibility, if we pull back the onion on the executive order and the FAR regulation, I think that our greatest service to all is what are we doing for them? Don't you have a greater reward giving to others than you do receiving? So if that means that we can do something good in federal government, which is to award and or consider, we can't promise an HBCU and or a small business a contract, but we can certainly consider them. So when we look at that education and training opportunities, and if it lends yourself in your agency where we could bring in academia from HBCU to teach those courses, certainly I do want you to consider them for those opportunities. Data processing, IT, information technology rather. So information technology, again, if you go to www.gao.gov and you click on the link that says key issues, and you can literally do a pull down. It will say key issues. You will do a pull down by agency, and you will see for every agency that you down select, each and every one talks about IT modernization, where agencies have been tasked to bring in corrective measures. The next slide talks about why. Why and how. Why and how did we consider HBCUs? And why were we reaching out to GSA? GSA is one of my favorite federal families. And so when this fell into my performance and elements approximately a year ago, what we realized is many HBCUs have been awarded contracts by federal agencies across the block to the tune of $17.2 million in FY19. But none of them held a GSA multiple award schedule contract. Not only that, there were 22 colleges and universities that held GSA contracts, but only 3 of them are HBCUs. But the huge win is, guess what? Those HBCUs are on GSA IT 70. And if folks are familiar with best in class, what does that mean? Federal agencies have best in class spend under management goals to meet. Now we have 3 HBCUs that are ready to work, that are procurement ready, and they are Fayetteville State University, Oakwood State University, and Alabama A&M. And we're so excited that we have the 3 out of the 103 HBCUs, that we're working with the other 100 between the mentorship from NIH and the mentorship from GSA. I think we could definitely get it done. The other piece that is missing, HBCUs receive Again, remember, federal government doesn't have a true contracting tool. They receive 0.5% of federal contracting dollars in the pool of all other universities. What is our path forward? Our path forward is to increase opportunities for HBCUs on GSA schedule. We also plan to help HBCUs obtain contract and grant opportunities. How do we plan to do that? We, again, are going to defer to the FAR. In the FAR, there is affirmative action language that increases opportunities for other universities and minorities, and so we are going to leverage that language and infuse that language in our contracting and grant opportunities. Because while universities and other small businesses can apply for contracts and grant opportunities, if you don't tell them explicitly in that contract or in that RFP that they don't know that they can be a sub-awardee and or a subcontractor. In government, we have to be transparent. We have to be clear so that folks know that they can play. If they are not invited to the table to eat, then they don't know that they're part of the menu. So certainly we do want to be inclusive. Then we're also going to target specific HBCU service areas of opportunity, such as professional services, information technology, and we also plan to engage and train HBCUs. How we will do that? We will do that by inviting them to our industry days, tooling them up to become procurement ready, leveraging the 7J technical assistance through SBA, also hosting a Treasury executive Industry Day that will be held on January 28, 2020. That Industry Day will actually provide an opportunity for HBCUs to brief their capability where they can be considered for contractual requirements at Treasury. So I think that this is a huge win. The other thing that we're doing at Treasury is we're looking to establish a university-affiliated research center to ensure that the monitoring of digital currency, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, quantum, and other technology capabilities of particular importance to Treasury are being leveraged. So we definitely want to infuse that into our landscape at Treasury. I'm honored to share the fact with you today that HBCUs have been delivering capabilities, experience, and overall value for federal agencies for many decades, Using HBCUs for their innovation, niche capabilities, and better overall value is not a new concept. Seeking them as a source to deliver world-class solutions is a newer concept. It is my vision that the SBA will continue to embrace and understand the unique differentiators of HBCUs or academia, period. Because they're not like a small business, but somehow we need to give them a procurement vehicle. I love the executive order and what it has evolved to. However, I need the help of industry and SBA and other federal partners to help this initiative forge forward. I think that HBCUs must invest the intellectual capital to provide more applicable innovation and also learn the FAR and become procurement ready so that they can truly succeed in federal contracting and grants, and designate a POC at their university that can respond to questions when the federal government calls them. Because we certainly, I don't know about you, but we certainly, when we call that university, we don't want to be pinged all over the place regarding our requirement, and we don't want to chase you down to say, hey, we got this grant, we got this contractor requirement, please put in. We want you to be responsive. We want you to be engaged with our agencies. We want you to understand our mission. We want you to understand the institutional rigor of each residence agency, not just want a contract. Understand our strategic plan. Read up on it. Understand the areas that are key issues at that federal agency. Read up on that. Figure out where we fit into the president's management agenda. Right? Because every agency is called out in the president's management agenda, as well as figure out the diversity inclusion piece. In closing, I just want to say thank you for having me here, and we are looking forward to partnering with you again in the future. Thank you.